Hi. So don't make fun of me, but I went to go live and I pressed the button and I'm sitting here and I'm talking to myself and I realized that I have to press the go live button. So I've been talking to myself for about a minute. Don't judge me. But anyway, hi everyone. I'm Angelina and this is my YouTube channel, Ology and Other Shenanigans. Hi Sarah, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for, hi. And I'm going to put this just because I think it's funny. So this really is a YouTube channel for like silliness and fun. So I'm going to put this too. How are you late to your own live? I was not late. I just forgot to press go live. This is cool. Is there a way to like make this go auto so I don't have to keep doing this? Or is this just like what it is? Anyway, we'll find out. But hi, Sarah. I'm glad you're here. I am planning on talking about just kind of some random stuff. For those of you who are joining us live, please drop in and say hi. How are you guys all doing? Sarah, how are you? If there's anybody else here, how are you doing this beautiful Monday? It's beautiful here anyway. It's real, and it was 100 degrees today. All right, cool. The more the merrier. So today it was 101 degrees, which I know might seem like it's really hot. Hi, Nanette. How are you doing today? Happy Monday. It's a beautiful day. Sarah, I'm good. How are you, homie? I'm good. I just ate a massive amount of vegetarian nachos, so, you know, I'm happy. There was like a point where we had like all this food in front of us and I'm like, Ryan, I swear if you eat one more chip, you are gonna live outside for the rest of your life. But he left the rest for me, so it was okay. But yeah, we had nachos tonight. It was really good. Yes. Good. Hi, how are you, Nanette? How is your Monday? Believe it or not, we are going to talk about some stuff. Yes, we do love you. Surprise! Okay, so today we are going to, or this week really, my main theme that I'm going to be talking about here on YouTube and on Facebook is kind of self-esteem and setting boundaries. Oh, that's good. I'm glad it's going good. That's great. But yeah, so this week we're going to be talking about self-esteem and boundaries. So on another group that I'm a part of, we were kind of all talking, and you know, one of the girls on there was talking about how she's just being bullied by her family members. Like, how do you set the boundary with family? So because they're family, right? So most of the time they've known you their whole lives. They know all your deep, dark secrets, right? But how do you get them to stop picking at you? How do you set the boundary that the way that you're being treated is not okay? So we're going to be talking about that kind of all week long here on YouTube and in my Facebook page, Interconnections. So one of the things that I talked about today with these girls is just to, or women rather, is to say, like, if a kid came up to you, right? So like if a little kid comes up to you and they start like kicking you or like calling you names, right? Are you just gonna be like, oh, that hurts my feelings, I don't like that? Like, maybe if you're in my line of work and you can't really do anything about it, like, no, you're not gonna just be like, I don't like that, don't do that. You're gonna be like, hey, that is not okay. Like, use your big kid adult voice, like, hey, we're not doing this, it's not okay, I don't deserve that. You need to back off, get out of my space, like whatever it is, like you're not going to just let those things happen. So my question is, why do we let other people treat us that way if we know that we deserve something better, if we deserve something different? So I'm going to be this week, so not necessarily in this video because I wanted to do just like a quick like howdy. We're going to talk about this week, what's going on. But we're going to talk about different tools and spiritual we're going to talk about like some spiritual tools other than just being like, well, I'm going to send love out to the universe. Because I feel like, especially with the spiritual community that I'm in, a lot of people don't want to set those boundaries because they feel like it's not spiritual. It's not of love and light for you to say, you're treating me badly and I'm not going to accept it. It is really hard not to let people in your head, especially when those people are your family or your friends or your spouse or your, whatever, your significant other. Like, a lot of times that is where we see the most bullying, as we see like these power differentials within our small groups or our tribes. We know who the leader person is. We know who, who to address first, who to talk to last. Like, we know who's not going to keep a secret. Like, we all know who is who in our groups, right? So the thing that I want to ask people, or the thing that I really want to focus on, is like, why do we accept this? Why do we accept bullying within our peer groups? Why do we accept bullying in our relationships with our spouses or at work? Like, why do we accept this? Why do we allow that? And if there's like any sort of kind of tips or tricks that anybody else uses, Sarah or Nanette or anybody else who's here, I can't ever tell on StreamYard if there's more than one person. But yeah, I want to talk about like different tools. So I personally am kind of like I'm very patient until I'm not patient anymore. So I might give like a warning, right? Like, hey, I really don't appreciate that. I don't like the way that you're talking. It's not acceptable for me to interact with people in that way. Yes, so we are conditioned to believe, especially like depending on where you are in the hierarchy, right? Like, I was the youngest of 6 children growing up. So I was the one who got the brunt of like, I could do no wrong, but in terms of my parents, I was perfect. But in terms of all my siblings, I got picked on and stomped on and all that other stuff. So I really had to learn how to assert myself when I got older, because I never really learned that when I was a kid, because I had 5 other people on top of me all the time. So really learning how to undo that conditioning or programming, and we are going to talk about how to do that probably tomorrow, because I have another live tomorrow at 6 here on YouTube. What should you do if you live with someone who has no respect or boundaries at all? So that is tough, because you can't like get rid of them. Like, you can't just be like, you can't live here anymore, right? Or like, maybe you can, I don't know. But one thing that I have found to be very helpful is to have everybody be on the same page. So when I was in the Army and I lived in the barracks, we would very often have like meetings. Everybody's going to get together and we're going to talk about what's going to get cleaned. What is your responsibility? Are you supposed to do the shopping this week? Like, whatever the case is, everyone within that smaller community is going to have something to do. And if that person doesn't do those things, well, then it's a breach in trust. Like, I know it's never, ever as simple as just being like, look, this is your job. You need to do it or you need to go. Like, it's never that easy. And even if it was that easy, you can't, like, what if that person says no, right? Like, no, I'm not going to do what you want and I'm not going to leave. So you just have to deal with me. So it's never just that easy to just set down the boundaries, right? However, I would say that because we are spiritual, we are able to set intentions. And so if the intention is, I'm going to have a healthy and like drama-free living environment. And so I'm releasing that into the universe and accepting that my guides and the universe is going to make sure that this happens for me. And then you never know, maybe that person gets a job and is able to afford to leave, or you're able to afford to leave. I know that's kind of like a cop-out kind of thing, but I will tell you that just because you're spiritual doesn't mean you have to just lay down and take it and accept that that person is not respecting your boundaries. So one other thing that I typically have done in the past is just to like 100% like, okay, we're living in the same place, right? I can't not live in the same space as you, but that doesn't mean I can enable your behavior. So like, for example, if you're doing all the laundry and all the cooking and all the cleaning, this person is not respecting you and you've talked to them about not leaving messes or please putting away their mess or whatever the case is. I'm making things up. I don't know if this is what's actually happening. But you've talked to them several times. Well, guess what? Now it's time that I'm not going to be doing all the laundry. And it's time that I'm not going to be doing all the cooking and the cleaning and all that other stuff because you're not respecting me. And so that givingness, that extra mile that I was going for you, I'm not doing that anymore because it's not being reciprocated. So if you can't respect that, then that's the end of me doing all that extra, because givers give and takers take, and if there's no balance, then you just end up in a huge mess. Intentions and asking guides for help and dealing and navigating with these situations definitely helps a lot. Good example. Yes. I don't have my glasses, so I have to get like super close to it. But yeah, I hope that was a good example. And I know that sometimes, especially in toxic relationships, it's never just that easy to just be like, I'm not doing your crap anymore. Do it yourself, right? But I do really think it's important for people who are coming into their spiritual awakening to know that they don't have to just be like, well, that's okay. Like, I know that you're not spiritual, so you don't understand. And maybe one day you will. Like, you don't have to make excuses for people. Like, not being awakened is not an excuse to treat people badly. Okay. Hope that makes sense. So that's kind of my spiel this week, because I was so like upset by what I was hearing from the women in my group that I'm a part of, because hearing that they're being mistreated and allowing themselves to be mistreated in the name of spirituality, I was like, oh my God, you guys, my head is going to freaking explode. Okay, I'm glad that's helpful. I hope that works out. I know what the situation you're talking about, but I really do think that situation is going to resolve. Because I feel like you know how to take care of it. I feel like you've got a good head on your shoulders. All right, so do you guys have any questions about that? I tried that, but couldn't handle the mess anymore. You tried to just be like, well, you know, they're spiritual people, like the making excuses for them thing. What does that mean by you tried that? I'll put it up here. When you say I tried that, what do you mean, Nanette? This is kind of a handy little doodad over here. The comments, that's cool. All right, it'll pop up. But, oh, there it is. Or there's something. It's hard sometimes in that, and sometimes you just have to find a way to get out. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. So there's definitely been situations, like, okay, maybe TMI, but like I've been married and divorced, right? Yeah, you stopped doing everything and you still couldn't deal with the mess. That's when you start like just like putting all their stuff like in a corner and just like letting it pile up. That's true. So for me, I'm a firm believer in like there's only so much that you can do and only so much that you can take as a person. I'll take this down now. But there's only so much you can do and so much you can take. And sometimes, like, if another person isn't understanding your worth, like, I have myself, I've just left situations. I left my marriage. I moved all the way across the country and started over. Like, I've done that. And it sucks and it's hard. But at the end of the day, it's my sanity. And I'm worth more than I'm being given. So I'm not saying that that's, like, the end-all, be-all, like, the answer to everything. But I do think that there is a sense of, like, if you don't respect you, then who's going to, right? And if you're always giving and somebody else is always taking, like that's not helpful for anybody. Like that's not helpful for the taker, and it's not helpful for you as the giver either. But yeah, it is really complicated and convoluted. So like I'm here because I was upset about what I heard earlier. And I want to be helpful to people, and I want to give advice, and I want people to come here and help others too. So like the way that you handled the situation, might be better, way better than the way that I handle it, and it might resonate with somebody who's listening or watching. Clean and do what affects you and quit caring about what affects them. That's true. Yeah. I personally have had roommates that were very messy. And that is basically what ended up happening. Is like, I just clean my stuff and I leave their stuff. And when it comes time to move out, I've got pictures. So go ahead and test me on that one. Yeah. Like I said, this is all one of those things that it's like, these are tools you can have in your tool belt to deal with situations. But at the end of the day, everybody is different. Every situation is different. And so what works for me is not necessarily what's easier for somebody else. Now, here's the other thing, though, that I want to ask. So, okay, let's say you're in this relationship with, So let's say you're in this relationship with this, like, terrible roommate. Okay, roommate situation. This person is messy and dirty and rude and loud and whatever the case is, right? How many times has have you been in this situation? Like, how many times has this happened for you? And I don't mean this as like a blaming kind of thing, because trust me, I am very new to breaking patterns, okay? But there definitely are patterns that we have in relationships that we continue over and over and over. There are cycles that we get into inadvertently that we get stuck in. So how do we break those patterns? And are you able to recognize those patterns? Like, even if you've had the situation 5 times, right? And you're in the situation again. Well, did you recognize it sooner? Are you making progress? That's kind of my thing that I've been kind of going on, especially in terms of breaking cycles. How quickly am I recognizing it? How quickly am I fixing it and getting myself out? Because we're not perfect, and the people that we're involved with aren't perfect. Yes, a karmic issue or a karmic issue, yes, is kind of a thing, but I personally don't think about it as karma, because when you're trusting another person, right? If I trust you with everything that I am, that's not me with bad karma. That's me with the inability to discern whether this person is good or bad. If I'm trusting everybody without any sort of resolve or any sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's no restraint, right? I'm just trusting everybody all willy-nilly and wondering why things keep getting messed up. Well, that's not really a karmic issue. That's more of like a life lesson that is going to keep getting put in front of you until you figure it out, because you're not supposed to trust everybody like that. You have intuition and you have chakras and you have all these things for a reason. We have to learn how to handle these, learn how to handle and how we respond to these things, and then we will learn from them. Yes, exactly. So being able to recognize our patterns quickly and really taking stock of like, okay, so my first impression, right? So let's say I'm meeting Sarah. So I'm meeting Sarah. I'm going into the, knocking on her door or whatever. I'm meeting her. And for the sake of discussion, I have this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach. And I'm like, oh, this chick is bad news. I really shouldn't be friends with her. I know she's bad. But I'm like, oh, that would be really rude. She just invited me to come back over later. And, I don't want to hurt her feelings. So I'm going to go back to her house anyway for dinner because I don't want to be rude, whatever. Okay. So who, how is that helpful to anybody? Your intuition is telling you something and you aren't listening. So if you fall back into that pattern, it's kind of like, you need to start trusting yourself. You need to start trusting your gut. And it's not like a blame thing. It's just like this is a pattern that you're getting into. I have started believing karma is just a lesson that we need to learn. Yes. Yeah, I would say that's probably pretty accurate. The way that I understand karma is kind of like a 2-part thing, right? So we're talking about you've made these mistakes in the past, and so you're going to keep reliving these mistakes until you fix them. Like, that's kind of how I understand karma. But then other people would say karma is like, okay, well, I punched a baby yesterday, and so now I'm going to get punched in the face twice as hard with a mallet. I don't know. That's like the like modern day concept of karma, and it's not exactly what it is, right? Okay. I don't know if that makes sense, or if this is even helpful, or if I'm just rambling. I don't know. But the show's called Ology and Other Shenanigans, so what is shenanigans without a little bit of rambling on? I don't know. But if you guys could please like and share this video, that would be awesome. Or like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to this video and channel. That'd be cool. I'm just here trying to figure out how my brain works. It's hard. Yeah, punched a baby. I don't know. We've been watching way too much TV. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, it's smiley laughing faces. I was like, I can't tell what face I'm getting, or if I really did not punch a baby. I am nonviolent. Okay. So that's kind of what I had for that. If you guys have any questions about like cycles and boundaries, I'm going to go much more in depth in it. I just kind of wanted to introduce it as a topic and hear your guys' perspective, or if this is even interesting to talk about boundaries and kind of, you know, how we as spiritual people deal with conflict. It's difficult. I am not an expert at dealing with conflict because, like I said, I have a complex. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I have a 0 to 60 thing where, like, I'll be at 0, I'll cruise along, I'll take it, I will tell you this is not okay. I will set that boundary, and then if it keeps being crossed. Hey, Jody. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are interested. Great. But if it keeps getting crossed, then it's like, okay, She-Hulk comes out and like, this is not okay, and you need to get out of my house, and like whatever the case is. Like it gets a little extreme. But that's kind of how it needs to be, right? Like I hate to make this like kind of a woman thing, and I know that there's men who do this too, but we kind of get told to just sit there and take it all the time, right? And you can't do that. You can't just take abuse, no matter who it's coming from. If it's coming from family, if it's coming from your friends, if it's coming from a new peer group. Like my wonderful sister just told me that she is dating this new guy, and well, they've been dating for a couple of months, and they really, really like each other. And everything's going so great and wonderful and honeymoony, and everybody's wonderful and great. And she goes to meet his family. And of course, as you can imagine, because like the dun 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 happened in your head, his family, his sister started treating her terribly. Like, and she's like, oh crap, like what do I do? Because I don't want to set a boundary and then like block off this new family that could be mine, right? Like I want to make sure that we're all good. But at the same time, like, I don't want to be treated like that. Like, I love this man. I want to be with him, and I want to get to know this family. Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, how do you navigate that? It's incredibly difficult. Like, I can give, like, 5 examples of what I would do in that situation, 3 of which would not be appropriate. But, I'm not her. Her personality is different. The things that she accepts is different. I can wish better for her, but yeah, I'm really happy you could make it too, Jody. You've had a very busy day, my friend. But how do you navigate those? If you guys, this is like a Q&A kind of thing. So if you have any great suggestions or questions about that, go ahead and ask. If you personally deal with conflict in a specific way, what do you do? I know for me, I try to be as upfront as possible. To say to people like, hey, you've overstepped, or you've crossed a boundary, or you've really hurt my feelings. Like, it's okay for me to say, like, you've hurt my feelings, and I don't like that. But I still love you, and I still want to be your friend. But you have to know that it hurt my feelings, and I don't like that. I don't want to be hurt. That's not what we do, right? Hey, Jody, how are you? How's your day been? I know it's been busy, but how are you doing? Asking you guys questions gives me a chance to drink water, so that's great. Yeah, it's hard. Meeting other people's families is hard because, okay, that's great. Yay, I'm glad you're doing good. But meeting other people's families is hard. Like, Ryan and my family, we're not the same. Like, my family doesn't drink or smoke or cuss or do any of that stuff, and his family does do all those things. So it can like be hard for him to navigate my family and hard for me to navigate his family because we're so different, right? It's helpful when, you know, you have a really like solid foundation. Sorry, I just ate a bunch of nachos, so I'm like, ugh. Cheese. I'm not supposed to eat cheese, but it's so gosh darn good. Anyway, but how do you know, what do you do? If you have a really long-standing, solid foundation with somebody, having a crazy family doesn't scare you, right? Because you have this foundation with this other person that you love being around. I don't know. Sarah, since you were talking about you in Paris, what did you guys do? Hey, Rev. How are you? So that is what you did, Sarah? So Rev, I don't think you've been on a live with me before. So that's great. I'm so glad. So I don't have my glasses on. So I'm like, I had to squint over here to look at stuff. But we are talking about setting boundaries and how to spiritually shut down a complicated and not okay situation in a way that is not like toxic and equally bad. If that makes sense. So I just was asking Sarah how she and her husband navigated a crazy family situation. Yes, I'm happy everyone could be here too. Thank you, everyone. I know I had like kind of an impromptu little meeting thing where I'm just like, let's do a live on YouTube and see what happens. And then we started talking. But yeah, so you laid down immediate boundaries, and so it wouldn't continue to get out of hand. And that's exactly what I think I would do. With a little bit of a different skew, I would probably like explicitly say, hey, you don't get to talk to people like that. This isn't how we do things. We don't scare people away. Like, reel it back, okay? Remember, this is a new person that I really like, and I want him to stick around. So how about you just like stop being crazy? Maybe I would say it a little bit more diplomatically than that, but essentially, yes. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you guys think. What are some things that you guys do? Paris had strongly bonded from the get-go, so we just got through it. Totally. And I think that's kind of, there has to be this like resolve that you and your partner are going to stick it through no matter how scary or like out of hand things get. Like at the end of the day, you guys are partners, right? So that's something that's discussed beforehand. And I feel like my sister did say that was how that situation played out, that like they had talked about this being a possible outcome to the meeting. But I still think like sticking up for your partner, sticking up for your values and your resolve, sticking up for those things, especially like in a public setting, is like incredibly hard, but also really important. I know, Rev. It's like no matter what, just can't shake them. Totally. No, there is a slight lag, but it's okay. You know me, I just talk and entertain myself. All right, guys. If there's any other questions about that, or if you have any advice, if you have advice later on and you're watching this video, shoot it in the comments and let me know. This is kind of going to be my thing this week that I'm going to talk about, just because there's so many people this week, and it's only Monday, right? It's only Monday, and I've already talked to a lot of people this week about setting boundaries and how to spiritually and tactfully, respectfully respond to conflict. And my way of responding to conflict usually has some sort of humorous, patronizing flair, which doesn't always dissolve situations. But I am always open to hearing any other advice that you guys have. Yeah, he knows. He says hi. He's eating goldfish, so he's good. He's good for at least another 10 minutes, okay? Just don't tell him. We went to the grocery store for dinner and we got some snacks. Oh, he's actually throwing goldfish at me. Whoa, okay.
I'm sharing.
I don't want any of these. Here, honey. Throwing things at me. This is a violent relationship. Okay, anyway. So that was that. That happened, y'all. See, ology and shenanigans. Yay! I'm true to my name. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Questions, comments, or concerns? While I drink some water. And ramble on, because that's what I do. We made eye contact. He's going to get mad at me. Oh my gosh, that's so mean. Why are people so aggressive? Like, I've been nonviolent since 2013. I don't throw things at anyone. Anyway, he does. He likes to throw things like, I'd be like, oh, can you hand me my water bottle? And he chucks it across the room. Like, dude, that's heavy, hard. Don't throw that at me. Throws wasabi peas. That's messed up. See, the thing is we can't throw spicy things in our house because we have a dog. And so if she picks up something spicy and then we start feeling bad. Like, okay, we can throw things at each other and it's okay, but like, don't hurt the dog. Oh, there's Ryan over there. They say hi. They said hi.
Who?
Everyone that I'm talking to.
They see me?
No, they can see your arm and your ear. He said, hello, everyone. I'm going to just like turn it over more this way. But anyway, so yeah, questions, comments, concerns, or nothing. If nothing, one of our cats got a hold of them that missed me and hit the floor, and he was not happy. No, I can imagine. I don't even like eating those things. The wasabi. We have wasabi flavored almonds that like I ate one and I was like, oh my God, what is this nasty thing? It's not my thing. I don't like wasabi. That's messed up. All right, y'all. I did promise him that I'd only be on for half an hour. So if there's no more questions or comments or whatever about boundaries and conflict resolution or conflict addressing, I'm going to head to watch more TV, I guess. Actually, I think we're going for a walk. I think that's what I'm being summoned to do, which is good. It's nice outside. It's like if you guys can see, it's still really light outside. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you for participating in this silliness. It was wonderful to see you too, Rev. And thank you for coming, Nanette, and thank you for coming, Jody, and thank you for coming, Sarah. And I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow probably at 6 because I'm doing a live tomorrow then too. Bye, everybody. I just felt like the pink Power Ranger for a second. That was weird. But anyway, see you guys tomorrow.